What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and what a start to the day. It has been an exciting start to this conference championship Saturday. We saw Ohio State struggle a little bit against Northwestern, but come back in the second half to win that game. I did a very quick reaction video to that game just a little bit ago. It was very short, but now I'm going to talk a little bit more in this video, mostly about this Oklahoma win over Iowa State. And is this enough to possibly get Oklahoma into the college football playoff if things go their way down the stretch? So we start with, first of all, Texas A&M against Tennessee. They were impressive in that game. Texas A&M is not really the type of team that's going to blow a lot of teams out 70-0. They're not going to beat teams like Alabama does, but they did what they do. They controlled the game. They ran the football. The defense was solid, and Aggies get the win. I don't think they did anything to really change their view in the committee's eye. They didn't do anything to make themselves look better than before, and they didn't do anything to make themselves look worse. So I thought it was a very solid win, and it's just going to depend on what happens. It's going to depend on what happens in the rest of these games to whether or not Texas A&M will have a case. For Ohio State, I said it in the video, I think they're in. It wasn't a great performance against Northwestern, but they did enough. They did what they had to do to win the game, and I think that'll be enough to get them into the college football playoff. Now we talk about Oklahoma and Iowa State. It was almost here we go again with Oklahoma. Remember the first time they played Iowa State? They had a lead at halftime in that game, then they lost it. Kansas State, they were up big in that one, lost it in the fourth quarter. They had a big lead in this game, and they looked dominant in the first half. Looked like a team that deserved to be in the college football playoff. I mean, they were up 24-7 at halftime. Everything was going their way. Spencer Rattler's playing really solid. They were running the football. The defense was playing lights out. And then in the second half, Iowa State just kept coming back, getting closer and closer and closer, and had a chance to win it late. But on that final drive, an interception cost them the game. And that was really the story for Iowa State. They threw 3 interceptions in this game. If you don't make those turnovers, Cyclones probably win the Big 12 championship. Now, I think Oklahoma did get a little bit conservative in the second half, and maybe that had a little bit to do with the comeback. But you would have thought that Oklahoma would have learned their lesson in those 2 games where they had a lead and lost it, especially the Kansas State game where they got a little conservative. But they did enough. They did enough to win this game. Iowa State actually outgained them 435 to 392, but some of those yards kind of came late. And again, Iowa State didn't finish their drives. They had 3 interceptions. They had opportunities. They had a chance to win this game, really did, and just couldn't do it. Brock Purdy did not have his best game with those 3 interceptions. Oklahoma wins the Big 12 yet again. And now the question becomes, was this enough for Oklahoma to make a case for the college football playoff? This is an impressive win. This is a win over the team that the committee had ranked at number 6. I mean, that's going to be about as good as any of the teams are going to do that are sitting outside the playoff right now. You look at Texas A&M, they didn't add a win like that to their resume. Florida will obviously have a chance if they beat Alabama, but we don't really expect them to win that game. Maybe they do. But you look at the different ways this could go. Right now, the top 4 is set. If Clemson beats Notre Dame, the top 4 is set. What happens if Florida does beat Alabama? But I think more realistically, what happens if Notre Dame beats Clemson again? I don't think Clemson will get in that case. So then you have Texas A&M and you have Oklahoma. Those are the 2 teams, unless Florida wins, it's going to be between Oklahoma and Texas A&M. I think there's going to be a real push for Oklahoma here if that does happen, just because of the fact that Texas A&M lost by 28 points to Alabama. Are we really going to see that game again? And then on the flip side of that, you're going to say, well, let's just get the best 4 teams. I think Texas A&M throughout their entire season has proven that they are a better team than Oklahoma. But also, how are the teams playing right now? I think you can make a case for Oklahoma because they're playing like a different team. Down the stretch, this team was really, really impressive. So that's going to be a very interesting debate. I don't think Cincinnati has any real case. I know Oklahoma is at number 10 right now, but they just added a top 10 win, also a Big 12 championship. I think there's going to be an argument. Now, again, that is if and only if Notre Dame beats Clemson. If Clemson beats Notre Dame, the top 4 are set. And like I said in that Ohio State video, I think because the game wasn't great for Ohio State, I think they might wind up at number 4 if the Clemson-Notre Dame game is close. So that game is about to begin. and I'm really looking forward to it, seeing what happens in that matchup. Hopefully, I will have a reaction video to that game. I don't know if you can tell here, my voice still not all the way back. I've been sick here for a few days, but it's getting better, and hopefully I'll be able to record something at the end of that game. But I would love to know what you guys thought about this one. What'd you think about Oklahoma's win? Again, I was really impressed with them early on, and then I thought they just kind of let their foot off the gas a little bit. It almost cost them. But I thought if they can play the way they played early, and with all the guys they've got back, this is a team that I think could make a case to be a top 4 team. It was impressive. It's been impressive what they've done in the second half of the season. And again, this is a very good football team, champions of the Big 12. But do you think there will be a case? Do you think there will be any chance that this Oklahoma team makes it into the college football playoff? Give me your comments down below. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports College Football Channel.